Hi there. So this is Brent Harris. I am a productivity coach. And what I do is I guide people to discover and actualize their higher potential. And so when I say higher potential, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that when I talk to a lot of people, especially a lot of people perhaps such as yourself who spend a lot of time in the self-development kind of space, reading self-help books, studying techniques on how to become a better version of yourself, how to become more productive, say, or to have better self-discipline, or to, how to, be happier and more satisfied and to be in flow a little bit more often. Usually people like that experience a disparity between what they imagine is possible for them in terms of what their life could look like and what they could be like and what their health could be like and, money and finance and relationships and how things actually are. And it's really the whole science of self-development, as it appears to me, is how do we close that gap? How do we get this to become this? How do we get them to be the same thing? And that is a question that I've been studying and looking at and lately coaching people on for the longest time. And so I focus on productivity because that seems to be the exact point where the rubber hits the road, where the more productive we can be, not just in the sense of doing a lot more stuff, but doing things that matter and things that really kind of move the needle, so to speak, then the more we can get our imagined reality to resemble our actual reality. And so that's the substance of what I do, and that's the substance of this channel. That's, when I make these videos, I'm making videos to this purpose. And so in this particular video, which I have titled, The Basic Principle of Actualizing Your Higher Potential, I want to touch on what I see as the core principle I'm making this happen. And the core principle is as this. Very, very simple, very obvious, but also not obvious, and something that it's so simple that we could gloss over it quite easily. And I want to encourage you to consider this, and particularly if you find yourself to be frustrated with, oh man, like I just can't seem to get traction, I can't seem to move forward, I can't seem to, like I'm expending all of this effort and I'm not getting anything back. If that's kind of what things are looking like for you lately, then I suggest that you really work with this principle that I'm about to share with you, which is this. Let there be a match between your word and your action. And so the idea here is that there's an analog between our inner world and our external world, the imagined world and the world that is kind of like physical reality. How far apart or how close these two realities are is analogous to the extent that our actions match our word. So in other words, the more we do as we say we will do, and the more we do as we, the more we walk our talk, so to speak, the more typically our reality is a match to the reality that we're trying to create. Does that make sense? And so basically, those of us who find ourselves in powerlessness, chronic powerlessness, so that it's almost like we just feel so lazy, we just can't overcome our laziness, and we just keep failing ourselves again and again and again, and we just never get there, and we keep falling back to square one and making no progress, and these sorts of kind of issues. If you were to start focusing on keeping your promises, then I think this will begin to change for you. Now, very importantly, it is important to make promises, because if you're not, because all of the self-help and all of our self-development begins with a conscious decision to be better. So we have moments such as these where we have clarity and we say, okay, well, like I want to be better, I want to do more, I want to do this, and so we say we're going to do something, and that element is very important. When you make one of these promises, it's ideal to make a promise that you suspect is less than you're capable of. and to say that you'll do it over a period of time, say 7 days, for example. So if you want to start a running habit, for example, and you feel like you want to run 5 miles per day, the recommendation is start at 500 meters per day, or you know, whatever the imperial equivalent is to a kilometer, or a meter rather. So go for much less than you feel you are capable of, but make sure you keep that promise. Because when you do that, then what you do is you get feedback at the very end. You are able to look back on what you did and evaluate how good it was. And if you found that the challenge was too easy, then scale it up. Make it a little bit more of a match to what you feel like would properly challenge you. And if it was too difficult, then do the opposite, then you lower it. Either way, you want your next attempt to be a little bit, you want to really find and really locate the boundary that is your challenge boundary. Like, you want to really locate what your limitation is so that you know exactly what you're able to do, and then start pushing from there. When you create a track record with yourself of making promises to yourself and keeping them, then you start to develop a sense of confidence. You start to develop a sense of self-reliance. It's the sense of, yeah, I said I was going to do it and I did it. And then I said I was going to do it again and I did it again. And there's a communion now, and there's a leadership established between yourself and yourself. And it's this leadership that, as you continue to foster it and nurture it, it will grow so that you can take on more and more responsibilities. And eventually you can start taking on the big responsibilities that are, like, say, the business that you want to start. Or, you know, if you want to go back to school and take a degree, or if you want to, you know, take on, you know, bigger fitness goals, or whatever that is. All of this is possible if you can create a foundation for yourself, a stable foundation of self-reliance and self-confidence and a trust of yourself to do as you say you will do. That's what I came here to say. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. If you believe this was helpful, and if you believe that this would serve more people, would you consider subscribing and hitting the like button and making a comment? And in particular, what I'd be interested to hear is, where do you want more traction in your own life? These comments are very important to me. Like, where, you know, what is it that, what have you been trying to accomplish that you just haven't been able to, like, just really get actual progress yet? If you were to write that, that might, you know, provide some inspiration for my next video. So thank you very much, and take care. Bye.